In this video we'll make this ghost character from the ground up, entirely in Inkscape, and using the keyboard and mouse. No tablet required. I'll go slowly guiding you step by step and in real time so you can follow along, even if you're a complete beginner. Now, this video will make use of a free resource I uploaded a while back, which is this asset pack with over 400 facial features, link in the description. I took this opportunity to make a few more additions, and I plan to keep doing them here and there, so make sure to check out for updates every once in a while. Anyway, we'll use it to build the head and save up some time. Other than that, we have everything we need to get started. But before that, if you're interested in learning to master drawing in Inkscape with good old keyboard and mouse, I have a special 13 courses bundle that deal with all type of Inkscape illustrations, including character design, background design, game art, rendering and more. If you want to learn a new way of illustrating and support the channel along the way, the link is in the description. Okay, here I am in a new Inkscape document. I've just imported the assets from the asset pack, and I will start to draw here at the side. The first thing I like to do when starting a character is making a quick underdrawing to mark the proportions and locations of the big parts. So with the pen tool, default shortcut P, and using straight lines, without clicking and dragging when you place nodes, draw this shape, which will be the head, and a quick line here to mark the separation with the head. For the body, a quick rectangle will do, and 2 lines to mark the opening of the coat. An horizontal line for the start of the ghostly part of the body, and this zigzag shape for that part. If you need to fix something at any moment, you can switch to the node tool, and because we use straight lines, it makes it super easy to adjust. Make this L shape for the right arm, and this other L shape for the other side. There is no need to be super accurate here, but keep in mind that this will guide how the rest of the drawing is gonna look. So it's worth to spend some time here making sure the proportions and shapes work for you. Now to prepare it so we can work on top comfortably, go to Objects, Layers and Objects. If you brought in all the assets from the asset pack, you should have a ton of objects here on the default layer 1. So we can easily find this under drawing. With the object tool, select all the shapes and hit Ctrl and G to group it. You should see a new group showing up on the object list. If you want, you can double click to give it a name so you can easily find it later on. We want to lock it so we won't accidentally select it, as we are working on top, so click on the little lock to do that. Then we also want it to be a bit more transparent so we can see it easily. To do that, just click on the little square and set the opacity to about 25% or so. Let's start with the head. Go to the assets and copy this head. Make it fit roughly with the underdrawing, and don't forget the top part here, there's gonna be a hat that we'll draw. Grab this 3/4 mustache, and these angry looking eyes. And don't forget the eyebrows. By the way, depending on the options set regarding the C order, it is possible that you may need to move up or down the copied assets once you paste them. For that, use page up and page down. Anyway, here just adjust these shapes with the object tool, moving, scaling and rotating them so they all look nice and like a proper face. This part is all about adjusting to your liking. Use your artistic sense to make the pieces fit into place. Anyway, we still need the nose, so grab this one. Don't forget to adjust the C order after pasting it, and scale and move it into position. Finally, the ear. Grab this one. Again, adjust the Z order and put it into position above the head shape. And continue making some adjustments with the object tool and occasionally switching to the node tool. Again, this is something you have to do on your own according to what you like and dislike about the drawing. I cannot possibly guide you through these small adjustments. Just use your eyes and see what works for you. Now with the pen tool, draw this line, which will be the other side of the chin. Let's add the beard and hair. With the pen tool, make this shape for the sideburns. And here is a quick tool that I will be using all the time. If you select any of the other gray objects and copy it with Ctrl+C, you can paste and apply the style to any other object. In this case, the sideburns, by selecting it and hitting Ctrl, Shift, and B. This will save you from having to go to the fill and stroke dialog and give it color manually. It's a very well worth remembering shortcut. Anyway, continuing with the back of the hair, draw this shape. Hit Ctrl+Shift+B to paste the gray color, and send it to the back using page down. Now let's add the hair. With the pen tool, draw this shape, close to the area where we split the head in the underdrawing. I know it looks weird, but it will look like a hat in a moment. Another shortcut worth memorizing: if you hold Shift while you drag from one of the straight corner nodes, you can pull up the handles, allowing you to introduce a curvature. Do this in all the nodes to make up this shape. This shape is the bottom of the hat. Now with the bottom of the hat in place, we can add the last part of the hair on the character. With the pen tool, draw this shape. Give it color with Ctrl+Shift+B. You may want to add color to the bottom of the hat as well. Then send this hair shape to be below the hat and below the ear. You can adjust it with an node tool if you need. Also, move the sideburns so it's below this new hair shape. For the top of the hat, draw this shape with the pen tool. Paste the color and move it below the bottom of the hat, but above the head. Finally, make this shape here. Adjust it with the node tool if you need. There's more to do with the head, but for now we can move on with the rest of the body. Let's start with the neck, connecting the two parts of the body. Just make a rectangle with the pen tool and give it color. Move it below the head. Next is the coat, and it has a shape that's a bit more complex, so pay attention or it won't look right. Draw this shape with the pen tool. Then on top, draw this shape. And give it color. Then this shape on the other side. You should also give color to the original shape. This is gonna be the back, so give it some curvature. By the way, make sure the neck is on top of the back. Now draw this triangular shape on both sides. With the node tool, double-click on the side to add two nodes and give it this form. Now let's continue with the neck. Make this rectangular shape and send it below the head but above the neck shape. This is the collar, so we need another one on the other side. Again, send it below. He's gonna have a scarf around its neck, so draw this curved shape and send it below the coat shapes. For the bow, grab an ellipse and draw it on top. With the ellipse selected, hit Ctrl-Shift-C to make it editable. Now just mess a bit with the nose to make it less even and more cloth-like. For the vest, make this shape and send it below the coat shapes. Don't forget to give them color. For the other side, do the same, but offset the top a little bit like this, so it looks like it's overlapping. With the ellipse tool, make 3 ellipses for the bottom. You can also duplicate them with Ctrl and D. Make another curved rectangle for the belt. Give it color and send it below the coat. For the buckle, draw this rectangle and using Shift, round off a bit the corner so they are not as harsh. Duplicate the shape with Ctrl D, and holding Ctrl and Shift, scale it a bit down. Ctrl and Shift will make it so it scales from the center, maintaining the proportions. Now select this new shape, and Shift select the other one and hit Ctrl and minus to perform a Boolean difference. This will carve out the shape of the duplicate and make it look like a proper buckle. Now for the locking shape, just draw this rectangle. You may want to add a hole using the ellipse tool. Send it below. With everything in place, I realize we need to finish the scarf, so make this shape and send it below the vest. We also need buttons on the other side of the coat. You can duplicate the buttons you already have. If you want, you can also scale them horizontally so they fit better with the area of the coat. Now continuing with the arm and the sleeve. Once again, the shape is a bit more complex, so do pay attention to the subtle forms. They are important. With the pen tool, draw this shape matching the underdrawing you made. Give it color, and notice this little note here at the top. It is important to give that look of folding clothes. Also pay attention that it's wider at the bottom. Draw a rectangle with the pen tool to make the bottom part of the sleeves, or whatever is this called. The opening is a little bit in perspective, so using the node tool, curve these two lines. Make sure the sleeve shape is slightly bigger than the other one. I just forgot. Make a quick line here to imply the arm being folded. Now we need the inside of the opening. With the pen tool, draw this shape and send it below. The character is gonna have this hand on his pocket. I didn't know what to do with this hand, so I'm sorry if this lacks a bit of imagination. Anyway, make this shape with the pen tool. The great thing about making him have his hand on a pocket is that you don't need to draw it. So make this rectangular shape, which will be the wrist, and send it below the pocket. Also make a little line here to imply a bump made by the hand there. Great, now for the other arm, which is gonna be bent. Draw this shape with the pen tool. Don't forget the little cloth bump at the top. Give it color and send it below. And adjust it with the node tool, moving around the nodes so it looks more natural. Make this little line for the folds. You can leave it with fill so it covers the area a bit better. Continue with the sleeve opening. Make another rectangle and this time bend the lines the other way. Then make the other side and send it below. Before moving on to the hand, which is a bit more complex, I want to finish the rest of the body, which is this ghostly part. To make it, draw this zigzag shape that goes thinner closer to the end. Now to make it round, with the node tool, select all the nodes except the bottom one, and go to this button in the tool controls. This will transform those corner nodes into smooth ones. Now all you have to do is to move them around, and the handles will give it a more natural, ghost-like shape. Now to make the hand. I'm not good drawing hands, so I much prefer to just use reference and make a quick and rough trace if needed. I think it's perfectly fine to make a trace for the hand, and even for other small details. It won't make you a worse artist if you use it sparingly. So I went on and searched for a hand that was roughly in the same position than the hand in the character, and the only reference I found was this one, which is not perfect, and it's a bit on the low resolution side, but I guess it'll do. If you want to follow along as closely as possible, you can just screenshot the video, or see if you can find the exact same image on Pinterest. Just search for gun in hand reference, which was what I used. With the object tool, grab the image and scale it and rotate it and place it where the hand should be. I sent the shape below the drawing and started tracing. First the wrist. This is just a rectangle. Give it color and send it below the sleeve. Now for the main shape of the hand. But here I realized it is hard to see. So instead I grabbed the image and moved it above the drawing. Open the fill and stroke dialog using the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-F, and set the opacity so I can clearly see. So I can draw more comfortably, I left-click on the image and hit Lock Selected Objects, which will lock the object in the same way that if I had opened the layer dialog and clicked on the lock icon. Now it's easy to draw on top. Anyway, continuing, trace over the thumb like this, leave it open at the bottom, give it color, and you'll need to send the objects to be below the photo, but above the hand shape. Repeat the same steps with all the 4 fingers. Trace them, give it color, and send them to the correct order. Okay, we got the hand. Now it's time for the pistol. The truth is that I didn't find a proper reference for the pistol in this angle, and I didn't thought it was that important, so I just improvised it. And in the end the result wasn't that good, but I didn't want it to spend that much time on this small area. Make this shape for the bottom of the grip. This rectangle for the actual grip. Send it below the fingers like this. A rectangle for the cylinder. Another rectangle for this part. Because this weapon is at an angle, this shape is a cylinder, so we need to make a top plane, so curve it a little. Make it bigger if you need, and draw the top plane. You can duplicate these 2 shapes for the second barrel, or whatever this is. Make this shape for the trigger area. A quick shape here at the bottom plane of the cylinder. And we need to make the hammer, which I just made it as a simple L shape. Then I duplicated with Ctrl D and moved it below. And that's it for the gun. A bit rough, but I think it'll do. The rest of the time I spent here, I tried to adjust some things I didn't like with the node tool and the object tool, just fixing some stuff. However, here I realized that the best could use some folds at the top. So with the pen tool, draw these diagonal shapes and bend the sides. Then send it below the coat. And that's it for the drawing. Now I'll spend some time quickly adjusting some stuff until I'm happy with the drawing. I recommend you to do the same. Just scan the drawing through and fix the smaller things you don't like. Small changes in proportions or shapes. Spend some good time here making sure everything is exactly how you want it. Now we are ready to give it color and then rendering it with light and shadow. First of all, I want to make sure all the drawing will have the exact same line weight all throughout. To do this, open the Fill and Stroke dialog. You can use the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-F and then select everything except the objects which do not have line. I think here are only the eyes. Then go to the Stroke Style tab and set a nice notable thickness you think feels good. I cannot tell you the exact number here because I don't know the size you're working on, but for me, I ended up with 1.2 pixels. So now I'm sure every single line here has that weight. Okay, now we're ready for the color. From now on, to speed up the whole process, I'll just give you the exact color I end up using. You can copy it by looking at the numbers in the HSL sliders. or you can try your own colors if you dare. Starting with the skin, remember this is a ghost, so we can use more fun colors. This is what I chose. Now, in this style I'm going for, I like to give the line the same color of the fill, but darker. I'm not gonna give you a specific color here. Just switch to the dropper tool and holding shift, so it applies the sample color to the stroke instead of the fill. Click on the same green fill. Now the two colors are the exact same. You can't see the stroke. Now go to the stroke tab and just move the L slider a bit to the left. So it's the same color but darker. We're gonna follow this process for all the strokes. But now we have the opportunity to save up some time using the paste style command that we used a while back. Just copy the green shape with Ctrl C, and then go to every single shape that's supposed to be the skin and hit Ctrl Shift B to paste the fill and stroke color. The tail here is a bit of an exception. I want it to be a bit transparent, so go to the alpha slider in the fill tab and move it a bit down, not too much, so it's a bit see-through. Pay attention that some of the shapes of the vest or other objects are not visible, like it happened here. In this case, I just move them up a little. I want to continue with the face, but before that, I want to make the eyes a bit more evil looking. To do that, duplicate the eye shape and give it a full black color. Move it a bit down and then set it behind the eye, but above the face shape. Scale it horizontally to make it look like this. If you need, adjust it with the node tool. For everything that's supposed to be black, like the mustache and the hair, I want to give it this darker green. And follow the same trick of sampling and then going to the stroke L slider and lowering it. I would recommend you to just join the two mustache shapes together with a Boolean union. Just select them both and hit Ctrl and plus. You can paste the style of the darker shapes on the eyebrows and the other hair. For the other lines, you can just select them and use the dropper tool to sample the color of the line. Before giving color to the hat, this type of hat has this separation at the bottom. So grab the pen tool and draw this shape. We're going to intersect it with the shape of the hat. So select the hat shapes and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Shift select the other shape and hit Ctrl and asterisk. Now send this shape to be below the bottom part of the hat, but above the top part. Okay, continuing with the color. Set this color for the hat. Give it the correct stroke color by following the method we already saw. You can paste this color to the rest of the shapes. The rim will have this color. And the shape we just created will have this one. Continuing with the coat, give it this color and give it the right stroke. Paste the color to all the coat shapes. The back of the coat can be just a darker version of the coat color. Just lower the L slider a bit. For the collar, give it a full white and set a dark gray for the stroke. I just realized here that there is no top part, just the back of the coat. I want a shape that will be a white shirt, so make a rectangular shape with the pen tool and send it below. Now you can just apply the same color of the collar to this shape. The scarf will have this color, Give it color to the stroke, and apply it to the rest of the scarf. The vest will have this color. Give it the right stroke color and apply it to the rest of the vest shapes. The buttons will have this color, again the stroke, and apply it to the other buttons. Then is the belt, the stroke, and the buckle, and the stroke, and apply the same color to the other shapes. The little hole can be just a darker black. It's barely visible, so it doesn't really matter. Now all that's left is the pistol. This will be the handle, and the rest will have this color. Don't forget the stroke. Anyway, we got all the colors set up. Now let's move on to the shadows and the effects. To do this, we're gonna follow the classic technique of using a darker hue of blue and then lowering the opacity. We're going for a top right kinda light. We're not gonna be too rigorous, so there's no need to be perfect. With the pen tool, make this shape right below the hat. Give it this color. Remove the stroke and lower the opacity so it looks like a shadow. Now continue with the side of the face like this. Remember to copy the shadow shape and then paste the style with Ctrl-Shift-B. The shadows overlap a little, and it's a bit distracting. Just merge them together by selecting them both and hit Ctrl and plus to perform a Boolean union. Continue with the shadow behind the hair like this. Below the nose, then the shadow in the mustache, following the bottom part. The eyes can also have a bit of shadow, but I recommend you to just lower the opacity so it's not that strong. On the left side of the hat like this, the same on the rim. A drop shadow on the neck. And now we're going to make a lot of contact shadows. Contact shadows are the ones that are where two shapes contact, usually right on the border. This helps to add a ton of depth and always looks great. So we want contact shadow right below the scarf. And a shadow on the lower part of the bow. Right where the coat contacts with the body, like this, on the two sides. Where the folds of the vest contacts with the vest. Right below the buckle. For the buttons, you can just duplicate them with Ctrl D, and then paste the shadow color. Then move it below the buttons with page down. Right below the folds of the coat. Continuing with the normal shadows in every surface that points down. Here, on the arm, and right on the border on the left side like this. Also on the left side of the arm as well. This includes the sleeve folds. And on the other arm. The pistol and the bottom of the hand will also have shadows. Put a shadow in between each finger. And on the bottom of the barrel and cylinder. More contact shadows on the skin. And a bigger drop shadow on the coat. I originally wasn't gonna include a shadow on the ghostly part, but I thought it was worth a try and I ended up liking it. Just add a shadow on the left side. You may want to lower the opacity so it won't distract as much. Continuing, I think the eyes should also be green. So remove the stroke and give it a very dark green. I'm not gonna give you the exact value, just a super dark green, almost black. Okay, now for the final details. I thought it would be fun to make a quick bullet hole to suggest that this guy was made a ghost in some sort of duel or something like that. To do that, grab the ellipse tool and draw an ellipse around this size. We'll change this color to the color of the skin in a minute. We need to imply some sort of clothing there, so with the pen tool make this a star-like shape. Sample the color of the vest and the color of the stroke of the vest. Send it below the ellipse. Now with the pen tool draw this shape. With the node tool select the nodes in the middle and click on the smooth type button to smooth the corners. Now you can paste the style of the tail to make it transparent. But here remove the stroke, select the gradient tool and create a linear gradient going from the hole up. By default the gradients are created with the second stop set to transparent And that's exactly what we want. Adjust the stops with the node tool to make it look like this. Now you can copy and paste it all around. I suggest you to grab the node tool and make a couple of adjustments to the clothing tear, so they won't look like they are duplicated. The same with the smoke. Change the shape a little so it's not exactly the same. And we're almost done, but I want to give it one last ghostly detail. To do that, with the object tool, select every scene and hit Ctrl D to duplicate the character and move it to the side. What we want to do now is to get the silhouette of the character, and for that we need it to be all of a single alpha. So with all the shapes selected, give it a random color from the palette. Now select the bucket tool, make sure here at the top says alpha, zoom right in so the view covers the entire character. This is important because the bucket tool uses the pixel data from the canvas view. Then click inside it. And now you should have a single path which has the silhouette of the character like this. You can now delete the duplicate, we don't need it anymore. Move the silhouette to be exactly behind the character, and using the blur slider, blur it to the point you see some degree of outline. Give it the same color of the skin. You can experiment here with the color and the amount of blur you want, but hopefully you can see how much of a ghostly look it gives the character. And we are done. I think this one was probably the single most complex character I made here on these step-by-step tutorials. Speaking of step-by-step tutorials, if you want more tutorials like this on characters, backgrounds, game art and more, check out the step-by-step playlist on my channel. Also, if you truly want to learn and master drawing with Inkscape, check out my 13 courses bundle. It will get you from zero to the point of being able to draw pretty much anything you want. Plus, you'll be helping the channel to keep making these sort of free tutorials. That was it for today. Hope you have fun. Bye!